on.
Yeah. There we go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Codex Station's Comic Character of the Week. You know the drill, folks. We take one character and give you that deep dive on that character. Right now, my guest co-host is Dan Kelly. Look at this. We're both sporting the character of the night. It's going to be Aquaman, but we're waiting on Gary and Chris. And Gary just texted me, says, I'm getting the podcast link. I can't get away from. All right, let me try resending this.
Welcome to
Hey, Mobius. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here's trouble.
Gentlemen,
Hey.
What's up?
what's going on?
Doing all right? How's it going with you? Oh, definitely got a lot of good recommended. There we go.
There we are.
It kept sending me to the podcast stream from yesterday. I don't know why. It kept directing me to there.
Huh.
So it's strange.
Well, glad you made it.
What's up?
Hey, Pam.
We can
Pam.
now.
Yeah. Well, I know the sports talk has been lacking without Pam's input.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Thing we will definitely be getting into Peter David's stint.
Yes,
Look
indeed.
at you, Chris. You are the only one not wearing an Aquaman shirt.
Why would I?
Because he's all wet. He's
You know,
wearing
that was-
Aquaman. He's wearing Aquaman Speedos.
It's Aquaman.
And we do not want to see them. We do
You sure?
not want to see them. Yes.
They're scaly.
It's Fish Fella.
You know, it was, I think, the beginning of last year when we were doing the show, Sal had said, oh, look,
Wouldn't
we
it be
got
cool?
Mighty Mike in the chat.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
We got Sonny
Yes,
in the
indeed.
chat.
Wow. All right.
Oh, is that what it was? I think Sonny's magnetic personality.
Yeah,
Hey,
unfortunately, I just don't possess
Hey,
an
Mr. Keith.
Aquaman shirt.
Well, it's funny because I was saying, that, like, I think it was towards the beginning of last year for the show, Sal had said, oh, I'm going to get a shirt for the
I said I would
character
like to. I thought
that
it'd
we
be cool.
do every week. Is like, I was like, that's a lot of shirts. He's like, yeah, every week I'm going to get a shirt for the character.
I said I would like to.
And no,
That's a lot of shirts.
You said you were going to, and
I said I would like
it lasted about 3 weeks.
And I'm like, yeah.
Look at him. He just wants to give you a big old fishy hug.
Mm-hmm.
I find that hard to believe, Sonny. I find that hard to believe.
So Sal was
If
doing
it's unbroken, it means it's because it's underwater and he can't get to it.
Sal had a shirt for every character until he got to MODOK.
Yeah, Sal didn't do the MODOK episode.
Yep. They did not.
That's
Right,
why he
yes.
didn't have a shirt.
So that lasted about 3 or 4 weeks, and then he stopped, and he was like, "Yeah, it's too much to spend on." I was like, "Do you realize how many shirts you're going to end up with on
Yeah.
top of what you already own?"
Oh, yeah, I know. It's trouble enough getting all my 50 Venom shirts washed and, ready to go.
Beast
Yes,
is
he is.
awesome. He's
Yes,
one of
he
the
is.
greatest Avengers
That's the
ever.
greatest X-Men
One
ever.
of the greatest Avengers ever. In the 800th issue, he was there front and center. Showed up. That's right. That is
Yep.
right. Aquaman's home for seamen. He's gonna the sales of his
Wayward.
Aqua dolls
Well,
is going to fund Aquaman's home for seamen.
you
that
left
is
out an important word there, and that is wayward.
wayward. Yes,
It's just
wayward.
semen that's just drifting around out there in the ether.
That's how you get pregnant. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
So
it's going to be one of those nights.
That's an issue of Adventure Comics that is on my. I still must get. Beast is a defender. You and Dan.
The
are,
Beast is a defender.
He was. But look, Beast is happy everywhere he went except with the X-Men.
Technically, everyone's a defender
Beast
because
is
it's a non-team. Remember?
Beast is a
All you had to do was show up.
And be there. Okay.
Beast is an X-Factorian.
Yep. Most
I mean,
definitely.
looking at the original Defenders lineup, you're looking at probably the most powerful team in the Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
universe.
and maybe one of the weirdest. Though I don't know, the original Champions lineup was pretty bizarre. Was it what Ghost Rider and
Oh,
Black
it was
Widow
bizarre, yeah.
and
Angel,
Hercules,
Hercules.
Iceman, and
Iceman, yeah.
Angel. And Angel had that god awful costume.
They're putting them
I
all
like
in the,
that costume.
they're all California based, so it was all left coast.
He had that terrible costume, and then they changed it to the one where it's like white in the middle with the halo, and then the red on the outside.
Oh, I like that one. That's
that costume was good.
Yeah. Okay.
So you just need to put it. You just need to put it on like the voice.
My light came on. Jerry went out. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Right.
Out.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mr. Keith's got it. Beast was the fifth Beatle.
Yes.
There you go.
And Dark Beast was probably the second coming on the grassy knoll too.
Is that who took the shot? The Dark Beast?
Yes.
Why is Gary blacked out? Are you doing something you're not supposed to be doing, Gary?
Oh, is mine blacked out?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see y'all just fine. Okay.
All right.
What are you hiding?
He's gonna jump out and scare us.
He's changing his shirt right now.
Woo!
No, I think he would leave the camera on for that.
Probably would.
Oh,
Nope.
now
No.
he's on. Yep. Quick preview of a book I got. Ba-bam.
Ooh.
I saw it when mail call.
No. We'll wait for Saturday night for that.
We need.
All right.
need
We'll
Sunday
wait for Gary to pop back on here, and then we'll jump into the show. Oh man!
So yeah, we did the first Aquaman episode a long time ago.
Yeah, we did. There he is.
There he is.
He's
So
back.
we're, so per Gary's request, we are, since it is his favorite character, we're doing the Aquaman revisit. So I know at least me and Gary and Chris doing it for the first time. So all their picks are, they're top of everything. And me and Sal were like, all right, well, we got to go back and pick 3 more covers, 3 more stories, 3 more badass moments.
You could have just reused them. We wouldn't have remembered.
Well, we do. So what you're trying to say is Chris and Gary here are the virgins
Yes,
that we're sacrificing.
the Aqua version.
Well, I've got like a dozen badass moments, so I'm sure that it's fine.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
sure.
Well, I can tell you from rewatching part of the first episode, there were a couple moments that repeated amongst all of us, me, Sal, Jamie, and Kevin. So I am positive that you will have some of them.
Sure, we will.
That's all good. That's all good.
And you know what? For a character that often people give second tier status, he's had a lot of really great books and a lot of really great moments.
That's true.
Yes,
It's very true.
He truly has.
Oh, absolutely. There have been some really awesome moments with this guy. So, being an Aquaman fan, as I'm revisiting this and studying it, revisiting my memories of it and all, I'm like, yeah, man, he really has had some great moments. So, makes me happy.
and I like that. For reading everything, I still there were some things I still had to read online, like a couple of older things, but most of it I was able to just pull the issues out and read them again.
Nice.
And not have to read stuff online.
Jeez, this giant freaking tome here.
There you go. That's your reference guide, huh, Gary?
Yeah,
Look at there.
yeah, that's the Warlord
Is
book
that
that just came out.
is
It's
that the
about this
John
size,
one?
but it's not heavy. What?
which one is that?
Peter David omnibus.
Oh, the Peter David one?
And what's really cool, Jim Calafiore,
Yeah, it gave you a nice
Oh wow.
Isn't that
marks on
great?
that one.
That's good.
Yep.
Commander Murrah.
That is really cool.
That is pretty awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
Which is
Yeah.
funny because Mara wasn't even in that run that much.
but she was in it enough.
Oh,
So, there you go. She's in enough. I'm sorry I didn't get to ever meet Peter David. He had been in ill health for quite a few years.
yeah.
So I never got, and he wasn't on the con circuit, so I never got to meet him. I wish I had, been able to tell him how much I enjoyed his work.
Okay.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he passed away
It was last year.
just last year.
Yep.
Yeah. Once again, because a great comic creator that gave so much great stuff couldn't even have health insurance.
No, he struggled for years. They had to have GoFundMe's and fundraisers and all kinds of things to help him.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like he's some guy that, he wrote a couple stories and drew 5 or 6 issues in comics. He was in it for like 2 or 3 years and then went away. I mean, he is decades of work, characters created, important stories. Some of the defining runs on Aquaman, Hulk, X Factor, like so much stuff.
10 years on Hulk. He was on Hulk 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a defining creator.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And you think about, Jason Momoa never would have been cast as Aquaman without Peter David's run.
Yeah.
He never would have been cast as Aquaman.
Yeah.
That was a great casting.
Right, and even though Momoa did not look like our traditional Aquaman, he had that warrior spirit, that badass nature we needed.
Yeah.
And I understand why DC did it, because DC was still
that's right. Spider-Man 2099.
Trying to get the wreckage from the Super Friends and everybody making Aquaman. It was always the butt of the jokes. And so David,
and he certainly was.
Yeah, and he was. And Peter David had to make him a badass again.
Wonder Woman's like, get in the back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, but by casting Momoa, it automatically, in that public perception of Aquaman's a wuss and this and that, he talks to fish. You put Momoa in there and like, okay. So it's Aqua Conan is what
Don't you remember they did that TV show Entourage? That like the main character that was like the big superhero role that was going to make him the big box office star was him playing Aquaman.
And they did it as a joke, that it was a joke hero,
Yeah.
Yeah, Vincent Chase.
Hey, you guys ready to get this thing started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and kick this off. All right, folks, do the short intro here, and we'll see you guys in about 10 seconds. And Gary's blacked out again. Gary, you blacked out again.
I don't know what's going on.
Jump out and jump back in while I do the quick intro.
Okay, well that means just don't switch us back in any stats.
Bad guys got it.
No, I won't.
It's a team of cat burglars breaking into his house to steal his collection.
Yeah, he's dealing with them at this moment.
Diane, get the gun!
Yeah, he's whooping their asses. I gotta turn this off. No witnesses.
Folks, welcome back to the Codex Stations Comic Character of the Week. Tonight we are covering all things Aquaman. I'm your host tonight, Sal the Slab Guy. Right over there is Chris. Right below him is Dan Kelly. And joining us any second will be Uncle Gary himself. And we'll be going over all this good stuff we got for you tonight. And as soon as Gary comes back, do you want to start the intro or you want to wait for him?
I think we can give him a minute or two to wait. What's up, Booze? Thanks for joining us.
We can send me a really cool link on the Batman versus Jason.
Love Booze.
Yes, he sent it to me. He sent it to me too, and it reminded me that at Halloween these guys have put out a fan film that was a live action Batman versus Michael Myers, and I started watching it. And I got about halfway through, and I had to stop for whatever I was doing at the time. And I was like, "Oh man, I've saved the link. I was like, I gotta go back and finish watching that because it's pretty cool."
Yeah, definitely. All right, there's Uncle Gary right there.
Batman Grundy,
Man, there he is with the huge ass trident himself.
Hey, Mike.
There we go. That's the good pictures.
If you ever watched the show Ghosts, the sitcom, which you should, it's hysterical. One of the ghosts is, the women is always talking about like, "Oh, I love me some Momoa," or they have like the one woman that's alive that can see them and communicate with them. So they have her like work the TV and do all that stuff for. And they're like, She's like, oh, put the movie on. Momoa's on right now. Oh, I love me some Momoa.
I like that show too. That's a great show.
Yeah, it is. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump in. His first appearance was in More Fun Comics 73 from November of 1941. Raise your hand if you own that issue.
I have a facsimile, but I do own More Fun Comics 75. Third appearance of Aquaman. And on the headline, it says new, or on the heading at the top of the book, new Aquaman. So the word Aquaman is on it, and it is the third appearance of Aquaman. So that's still a pretty good book to have.
Oh, yeah.
And the title of that first story was The Man Who Smelled of Fish.
Okay.
That is Chris. That is Chris after he visits. Oh, no, I'm not going to say that.
We're not going there. Go ahead. Continue with the origin.
Created by Paul Norris and Mort Weisinger. His origin has been changed, retconned over the years. You know, he'll have one origin, and then they'll change it, and then they'll change it back, and they'll change it a little bit. So, the basic origin, he is the son of lighthouse keeper Tom Curry and Atlantean queen Atlana that was that wanted to flee Atlantis. She met Tom. They fell in love. They had the baby. Atlantis came, and they took her back and left him with Tom. He grew up with his father. And eventually, after his father passed away, he eventually found Atlantis. He became their king. There are other origins where he's, a baby raised by dolphins. There's one where, it's somebody else that's his father, Atlantean, the Atlantean wizard. There is the original origin for the Golden Age version of Aquaman, which even though he looks exactly the same, is a different character. Though I don't think they ever gave him a name, right? That he was just Aquaman.
Yeah, as far as I know, he never had a name.
Now, when they did that Golden Age thing a couple years ago with Jeff Johns, and they had, and he had like all the new Golden Age sidekicks that he created, and they had the little file pages for him. There was one in there for the Golden Age Aquaman. I can't remember if he put a name in there for him or not. I'd have to go back and check. But it seemed like that they were intending that they were going to do something with the character, then just never did. So I don't know. Anyways, superpowers. He doesn't just talk to fish. He doesn't really talk to fish at all. Though originally in the Golden Age, he did have the power to talk to fish. And of course, it was the Golden Age, and they would give some kind of wonky stuff with the powers, like he could only survive out of water for an hour, or he could talk to fish, but it would be in their, in their language. And
then fish took him to school.
Yeah.
I saw what you did there.
So his powers are super strength, invulnerability. He can breathe underwater and above water. He can see in near total darkness. He can swim at super speeds. He can telepathically communicate with marine life. And most recently, he has gained Mara's power to be able to control and manipulate water. He has had other powers over different parts of the years here and there, but this is the primary power set.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump to what works best for this character. And since Scary, this is your pick, why don't you tell us first what works best for you?
When he is the hero that is, the sovereign over all of the, 70% of the earth with, all the oceans, and that's all his territory, but he still has time to be the King of Atlantis, and he still has time to be a founding member of the Justice League of America. He is, of all the heroes, I would say he is the most global, of all the heroes, that he is everywhere, and that his range and his patrol spans, the whole entire world. I love him as a leader, as a monarch, as an inspiration. In the League, he is just, in the Justice League, he's a tank, is what he is. He's a tank. He is this very willful force. He is someone that isn't he is not afraid to state his views, and he is a valued teammate. And I just think as a I think he's a really interesting, complex character that has oftentimes the weight of the world on him. I love and I think there's a underline. I'm glad that when Jeff Johns did the history of the DC universe lately, nice. When Jeff Johns not Jeff Johns, when Mark Waid recently wrote the new history of the DC universe, it's back in the continuity that his son was killed.
Yes.
So that was mentioned. And I think that's an important aspect of the character because,
yes.
A lot of these characters, their origins, have a tragedy that involved their parents. Well, yeah, there's his mother, leaving him with Tom Curry, there's a little bit of abandonment there, but the main tragedy in his life is a Black Manta killed his son. And that's quite a burden to get over. He and John Jones have that tragedy where their children died. And so I think that gives him a weight and a gravity to his character that others just don't have. There was a really cool, just aside, it was almost an aside in Identity Crisis when the heroes are very angry after Sue has been killed and they're going out to look for the murderer. And it's, I can't remember who was narrating it, but they were saying, heaven help that person if John or Arthur find him, find whoever killed them, since they've children, that would be, that wouldn't be good.
Justice, man.
Yeah. Those are the ones you do not want to find him.
Yeah.
Who did that. So I just love him as a hero with that is just a global force for good and is the master of the water and is pretty damn efficient on land too. So I just and a great founding member of the Justice League, a true icon in the DC pantheon.
You're a big fan, aren't you? Or fan?
Big fan.
He's a big fan.
Yeah. You get paid for all those jokes, or you work for scale?
I get paid by the joke.
You work for scale?
I get a quarter from Dad. Every joke I tell, I get
work for scale. I caught what you said there, too.
Oh, what's up, Jay? What's up? Good.
Plug Nickel.
Hey, Jason.
This is my buddy Jay that I grew up with.
All right.
Hey.
Very good. Welcome to the show.
You'll have to tell us little Dan stories.
Yes.
I was friends with his brother, his older brother, then became friends with him through that. But yeah, we used to play in a band together too.
Nice.
Very nice.
All right, Gary, good stuff. Chris, why don't you go ahead next?
I mean, what can I add to that? That everything he said about the character was absolutely spot on, and Gary would know. That is his favorite character. So, he is at his best when he is the monarch. When heavy weighs the crown with him too. He's always had this underpinning of great sorrow and regret, especially, with losing his son. And it seems like all of the tragedy in his life is related to that crown that he always feels he has to pick up, and that's very telling. And it's very hard, I'm sure, to outlive your child. My mom has lost 3 of her 5 children, and I told her over Christmas, I don't know how she's going, how she keeps going, but it's a tragic event that has marked his legacy since it happened, and without that tragedy, I mean, he wouldn't be that Shakespearean-esque king that we all know and love. And he's a great leader. I prefer him more solo, where he can shine, or if in that rare occasion they bring him to the front of a team book. I love that. It doesn't happen often enough when he's in a team. He's usually, background. decoration. But yeah, he's a phenomenal character, and he's been around since the Golden Age. He's got legs, or webbed feet.
Since the Golden Age, there have only been 5 heroes continuously published: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, and Aquaman. Those are the only 5 heroes who have been continuously published since the Golden Age.
What about Speedy?
Well, there are a lot of times in a lot of the Green Arrow backups, Speedy wasn't there.
I do find it interesting, just as a side tangent, since Green Arrow and Speedy's first appearance was in the same issue as Aquaman's first appearance. I find it interesting that, all these other characters, when they would get sidekicks, it would be a sidekick that came along later. But Green Arrow, his sidekick was with him right from the start. I think the only other one I could think of like that was Bucky for Captain America. But
Star Spangled Kid and Stripesy were together.
Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't even think about that because it's the
and they're all post
hero.
They're all post Robin, so it was a tried and true formula at that point. So might as well make them.
Right.
He did. Robin was around, wasn't he?
Yeah, Robin was around then. Yeah.
When Aquaman hit and Green Arrow hit.
In 1941, yes.
Okay.
That sounds right.
Yeah, because Detective 27 was June. I'm sorry, had a May cover date of 1939. Detective 38 was the first Robin.
Right.
Okay.
So 11 issues later. Yeah.
Okay.
And I agree with what you were saying, about, the tragedy defining him too. Because you think about it, for the time when they did that storyline, when they killed his son, like, that's not something that you saw in comics.
Oh, heck no.
Right.
And not just, not just death, which, at that time was an uncommon thing in comics, but like to kill, not even just kill a child, but like to kill a baby in such a horrible way.
Right.
That was something you just didn't
insane.
Yeah.
And the death of the Manhunter's children was revealed later, that he had a family and all that. So his was the first that I can remember, first character that had a child die in comics that I know of.
Right.
First hero.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Then how about you? What else do you like about him?
You guys mentioned the stuff with Atlantis and the Crown. I think, he's good in the Justice League. Obviously, he's one of the founders, one of the big 7. But I like when he is balancing his responsibilities as a ruler of Atlantis, as a member of the Justice League, and sometimes those two things clash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That was just that was something huge that happened then.
Yeah, and that was in the 70s.
It
completely unheard of.
His responsibilities as King of Atlantis and as a member of the Justice League don't always match up, and sometimes they come into conflict with each other because of it. And then he's and I don't think that the people, the other members of the Justice League fully grasp that, this guy is a superhero with you too, but he is legitimately, he's the leader of a nation. Wonder Woman is like, she's a princess, but she doesn't really rule them scary.
She gets it more than any of the others do.
She's the one that's closest to getting it, but
they're both royalty. They're both, statesmen or statespeople.
Right.
Yes. So, it's interesting to see him balance those, and him trying to balance being a husband and a father, and he doesn't want to be torn away, from his kid and from his wife Ramera to go out and do all this stuff all the time. But he feels that he has this responsibility to, and like you said, Chris, I imagine for kids, that's,
yeah,
be a lot to process. But you were saying, Chris, how he doesn't always want the crown, but
they don't always want him to have the crown either.
Yeah, but he always goes back to it because he sees whenever he's not the one that's in charge, or at least there as part of the one in charge, everything goes to shit. It falls apart. it falls apart. The bad guys take over. Nothing goes right. He sees like, I have to do this because it's going to be terrible if anybody else is doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more so since Peter David. There's been some really good writers that have done it, but before Peter David, it was a lot of hit and miss. Peter David was the one that gave it long-term consistency for the first time in a long time.
Very true.
Yeah, he doesn't quite have the arrogance that Namor does, but he also, like Namor, has come into conflict more than one time with the surface world. And I also like that he can be uncompromising and relentless in his view when he sees something that needs to be done. And again, sometimes that's when it comes into conflict with the Justice League, and he's having to because he will put his role as the leader of Atlantis above being a member of the Justice League.
Yeah.
And he's one of the few in the league that will get in Batman's face too.
Yeah. Batman, he has
doesn't sweat
no
those
problems
guys.
standing up to anyone. And you look at it with the league, and it's like, okay, I get it. Superman's the leader. He's the most powerful. He's the first one, blah, all that. But like when you really look at leaders, it's like, well, why wouldn't you pick the guy that already rules the kingdom, is in charge of the whole kingdom, all the people, the army, and all of that.
Yep.
Right.
So what about you, Sal?
So you guys had a lot of good points that I should echo, but I'm going to stick with this one that's it kind of mimics everybody. But being a monarch, being a king, when he enters a room, he brings that presence with him. He's not just someone that's going to just walk in. He walks in the room, and you immediately go, okay, that guy, he's got something going on. He's somebody to know, that type of situation. So, he brings that presence where he's representing the whole, Kingdom of Atlantis, that type of situation. So I love that. Yes, he's a great leader. He's an excellent fighter. He's very passionate about, protecting not only, the people of Atlantis, but also the service world, because he feels connected to that too. But yes, in those times where the Justice League and, the Atlantis have come into like disagreeing viewpoints on the situation, I think he leans towards Atlantis because he ultimately feels that he has to do what's best for his people, no matter what. So if that means disagreeing with the league, then that means disagreeing with the league.
Is he popping in and out a lot?
Me?
Yeah, your mic's a little rough.
Is it Roy, or is it my voice that's rough?
That's better.
There you
now.
go.
Okay, so I guess I should have it down here.
And
So
kind of with what you're saying about him, being in charge too. As much as people respect Superman and people revere him, Superman doesn't have people that kneel in his presence out of respect that much.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
People
That's true.
bow to they bow to Aquaman, they kneel to him.
Yeah.
That's along with being king.
There was a great scene in one of the Justice League secret files things they did after the relaunch of the Big Seven and the JLA.
Mm-hmm.
And Aquaman, Batman, and Superman were all meeting at the Kent's farmhouse to, discuss the future of the league. And there's a real cool scene that opens up where Aquaman is standing in like civilian clothes in the middle of a wheat field, which was really cool just to see the king of the sea in a sea of wheat. It was really cool. But anyway, they have a scene where the Kent, Ma and Pa Kent are like calling him Your Majesty and bowing, and he goes, "No, please don't do that." but it was just, here's Superman's parents, right?
Yeah.
Who have raised the most powerful, hero on the planet. They are just in awe of the king of Atlantis. And
I kind of think one of the things that we kind of gloss over is the fact that, yes, he is the king, and that means political connections.
Yes.
He was what? He was part of the United Nations for a bit.
He has to go to the UN, right?
He was an ambassador.
Yeah.
Right.
He is a powerful man, not just a powerful hero.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
a powerful person in the world.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was alluding to with that presence of when he's going anywhere. He's representing not only himself, but he's representing the entire nation of Atlantis. So
Yeah.
that's what I like. All right, let's go ahead and then jump to our next segment.
I didn't mean to step on you there, Sal.
No.
It's all right.
You were just trying to say he's a big fish.
He's the big fish in a little pond, and that pond being Earth. So, let's jump to our next segment, which is, of course, badass moments. We have probably a million of them. I'm gonna let Chris go first on this one.
Badass moments with that badass right there.
There you go, with the flow.
Mm-hmm. Love the flow.
Badass moments.
Heavy flow?
No, not heavy flow.
That is all business in front, party in the back.
Look at that. Don't let
love that character. Look at that. Look at that.
Woo!
I wonder what Aquaman would, he's got that current power where he could control and manipulate water and stuff. I wonder what he would do with that if he had to face against heavy flow.
Heavy flow.
Wow. Let's not think about that. Let's go to badass moments.
That would be the red tide. That'd be the red tide.
Okay, and oddly enough, that is my first badass moment is in Aquaman #2 when he fights Heavy Flow. Now, when he goes up against what is it, Charybdis?
Yeah, it's close enough.
And loses his hand to the piranha.
Yep.
And
bye hand.
Even then, threw a quip out after he kills the villain and was still able to kill the villain.
Yeah.
Was still able to, even though he did have some help there, with Mira, but still, quite an impressive, badass moment to be able to keep fighting. And even after that, even without his hand, he didn't let that slow him down. I mean, look at him.
You got to hand it to him.
Now he's hunting whale.
Give the man a hand.
Give him a hand. Give him a round of applause.
Yep.
My second badass moment would be, and it's I don't know if it's in out of canon, but I'm going to include it. Is in JLA Avengers when he is going up against Atuma and all of that Atlantean army, and he uses his power to talk to aquatic life to just shut him down.
Yeah.
He just shuts them down.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That is awesome.
Namor doesn't do that, does he?
Nope. And Namor, he actually halfway shuts down because he's half human.
Yep.
Well, remember, he did beat Namor head to head.
Dropped the whale on him.
Dropped the whale on his ass.
Nope. Some would say that's cheating. I call that good fighting.
I call that
cheating. In baseball, what's the adage? If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
That's true. And then in Aquaman #6, the 2016 Abnett series, he and Mira went toe-to-toe with Superman. They threw down and fought the Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an impressive battle. And Superman was just trying to get him to back down, and he's like, I can't do that. I'm a king, and he just would not back down from the mission that he was on, which I don't want no spoilers on that. That's an incredible series. Mm-hmm. But it was at the end of the final chapter of The Drowning.
Right.
Which is such a good read.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What was that?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's really, really, really good. So if you get a chance, that's just a badass. That's just 3 of the badass moments out of the million that are out there with this character. He's just such a good character.
Definitely. All right, Dan, you're up next.
All right. So I had, the 3 that I picked the first time. So I picked 3 different ones, and I guess if the ones I picked the first time, we can come back to them at the end if they're not picked. But since Gary said he had 86 moments, I'm sure he has them. So the first one I get, Chris was kind of talking to, it's from Aquaman #6, from I I forget which vault. It was from Rebirth. When, like you say, Superman and Mare or Aquaman and Mare trying to do this thing, and Superman's trying to stop him, and he's just talking to him, and Aquaman's trying to walk away, and Superman kind of puts his hand on him, and is talking like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and Aquaman is not having it, and he just punch Superman, laid him out, and screams, "I am a king." To remind me, like, look, I might be your friend and your teammate, but you will effing respect that I am the king of a nation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I just, I thought that was
filthy hands off of me.
Yeah.
Damn dirty ape.
Damn dirty ape. That's right.
Damn dirty alien from outer space.
The boys show is based on the comic series The Boys, though I would say after the first couple episodes, I would say it's loosely based on the comic. If you think, and I tell this to people, if you think the shit that you see on the TV show is crazy and outrageous, it's like a tenth of what you see in the comic. The comic insane. Is so, even like the Hero-gasm episode, as crazy as like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this on TV. That literally just scratches the surface of what they did in the comic. So I can't tell people enough. Like, you got to read the comic. The stuff they do in that, there's stuff they do in the comic. There's no way they would ever, like a studio would ever put money into doing it on that.
You have to be careful who you recommend that to, because they'll read that and come back and look at you with a side eye.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That was a cool fight.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I always recommend The Boys. Like, if you like the show, you'll like the comic. But the comic is, what do they say?
The comics are
it goes to 11.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
on Spinal Tap. Yep.
Like
Absolutely.
Spinal Tap.
Right.
Some of it will make you go, ew.
The next one I got is from Aquaman 46, and again, there's so many volumes. I think it's volume 5. That was the Peter David run. He has to go down to hell, so that he could save. Well, I guess not too much. So he could save Poseidon, who's down there, and he gets down there, and there's the ferryman and Charon, yeah, and he's saying, payment, or you got to be with the souls here, and Aquaman is not having it, so he punches his head off, steals the ferryman's boat, and then all the lost souls that are there, which are the people that had gone down there and could not pay the ferryman. He says, "Hey, you want to come storm the gates of hell with me and and try and get out of here?" So he fills the boat up with them, and then as the boat's going, ferryman, puts his head back on. He's like, "You can't do this, you can't do this." It turns and Aquaman runs his ass over with his own boat. And then when he gets to the gates, and there's I'm a weenie when it comes to Crusoe. Oh, yeah.
Avoid it, Pam.
When he gets to the gates, and there's the big 3-headed dog, Cerberus.
Cerberus.
Aquaman rips the middle head off of it and throws it over the gate of hell, and all the soldiers in there are like, the hell soldiers, the demons are like, oh shit. And then him and these these other souls that he's recruited just go busting down the door, and all of this happens in the span of like 3 or 4 pages. It's not like, oh, this is one whole issue. He's there, and it's like, because it's the last issue in this storyline. It's the last issue of Peter David's run, and it's just full steam ahead. Like, all right, come on, we're going. It's like, damn.
That sounds like an awesome read.
Then maybe you'll hear more about it later. Maybe that's what we call a tease.
Foreshadowing.
And then the last one I have is JLA number 75. This is from was it the Obsidian Age, where the League had all gone back in time to like Atlantis before Punk, and essentially Aquaman as as the new league forms and and they go back and rescue him and they're bringing him back to Marty, we're going back to the future. Aquaman becomes the catastrophe that originally sinks Atlantis and has it go to the bottom of the ocean. And everybody has to become water breathers and all that. So it's crazy that he ended up for a short time becoming that powerful to do that.
Nice. All right, so I guess I will go next. Gary, do you want to go last? Did he go? Did he lose?
I guess he will be going last.
Not yet.
I mean, Billy Butcher, character-wise, is fairly the same in the show as he is in the comic. Though in the show he doesn't, or in the comic he doesn't have the weird superpower that they gave him at the end of last season.
Right.
Well, one thing I think that was a huge mistake when the show launched is in the comic, all the ones on the boys have this, they all have powers. They all have the same power, the super strength and the invulnerability, which I thought was a mistake not doing on the show. Because it's like, how are you going to legitimately make me feel like these guys are going to stand up to Homelander and all these guys?
Yeah.
Without anything.
Without just getting stomped.
Gary, drop out and come back in. There we go. Good. All right. So for my 3 badass moments, I'll start off with I have to do this one. I'm sorry. I used this one badass moment last time, and I have to again because it was just it's that comical and badass. This is the More Fun Comics 1942.
I got it.
Wow.
Okay. To stop. Okay, there we go.
Hey.
I want Gary to hear this one.
Hey, unlike Heavy Flow, Gary's camera work is spotty.
Very funny.
So I was telling you, Gary, this is the recycled badass moment. More Fun Comics number 85 came out in 42. He throws a polar bear onto poachers. So there's some poachers there. They're poaching seals, and he just heaves a polar bear onto them. I mean, not only is that like epic strength because that polar
Use the picture.
Are both. What's that? Oh, I forgot that picture. Oh, hang on.
Awesome.
I got a picture. Stand by because that was hilarious. Oh, damn it. I did not load that up. I'll pull it up in a minute.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, and then he makes some like stupid ass comment. Like, I think it was, I can't bear to watch this.
It's a great picture.
It's a great picture. I'll load it up in a minute and I'll show it to you. Show it to you guys. All right. So for one of my other badass moments I got is from volume 7, number 1, the final page. He drags up the creature from the trench and drops it at the Coast Guard's feet. Like, boom. Here you go. Do you want this? Here you go. That type of shit. I mean, that's pretty badass right there. And one of my other ones is from 1991. He's battling Manta, but he's battling Manta on the surface, and Manta's attacking civilians. So, Aquaman just doesn't back down. He goes in. He's fighting them above water, but they're like they're in the water. They're out of the water, and one of my covers is going to show it. He's like holding up a building that's collapsing like this.
Are you doing this?
Yeah. What's that? Yeah, he's doing this. No, he's not doing this. He's doing this. He's doing this. Hey,
yeah, look at my muscles. It's so big.
Right.
I'm so big and strong. Yeah, lift on the speed. Wow.
During this whole fight scene, it took place over in the air, on land, and in the sea. It was an all-around badass moment. But the fact that when you see the splash page or you see the cover of him holding up a collapsing building, that's pretty fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So those are my 3 badass moments. I have one more, but I'll let Gary go next, and I'm gonna find that picture and load that
if you
up.
got one more, use it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
do it
okay,
now.
so-
do it.
This is where he's getting the hook put on his hand. He's examining the stump of his arm. He's refusing any magical treatment. He's refusing any type of scientific treatment. He's just, and then the next bottom of that page shows a close up of the harpoon being affixed to his arm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He
You're
kept
badass.
dunking
You don't
it,
need
he
to
kept
show me
dunking
anymore.
it in that fresh pile of cow dung
No, he didn't.
just to
Yeah,
build up resistance.
maybe. Let me do that. But yeah, that the way they had that on the bottom of that page where he's just affixing the hook to his arm,
Ah,
pretty badass.
that
Pretty
is.
badass. All right, Gary, go ahead while I find that other picture and load that up.
All right.
What did
So
he do? Did he just like attach that to his bone?
It's like
He
jam-
just shoved it into the.
I think he just kind of put it in, and then he had and then he just like wrapped a bunch of cloth around it.
yeah.
Well,
He had
That's
back-
insane.
there's the hand, you know, he was just a bone hand. They took the, you know, they cut the hand off, the bone part of the hand
Yeah.
off, and that was in
Right.
another plot point in another issue. At some point, some villain had gotten a hold of his bony hand and was, you know, trying to
What was
lord
he
it
doing
over.
with it?
He was. I don't know. You'll have to read the issue and figure it out.
Yeah. Go read the issue, Chris.
See what you did there.
Yeah, thank you.
Come on, give me a hand.
Nope.
Yeah, there you go. In Aquaman, so in Aquaman, let's see, in Justice League of America 4, with the new relaunch, there is a great scene where they introduced Aquaman to the new team. It's Jim Lee, Jeff Johns, and the parademons are running rampant, and Aquaman, as you know, the league hasn't met each other yet, so they're all meeting each other for the first time. And Aquaman comes out of the water, stabs one of the parademons with his with his trident, jumps out of the water and says, "They're in the water too. Who's in charge here? I vote me."
Yeah.
It's just really, I vote me. And then he gets into it with this version of Green Lantern is even more cocky than our usual version of Hal Jordan. And he and Hal, Hal starts giving him a bunch of crap, and he's telling Hal, "We can use you. We need a lure." He goes, "Why are you looking at me?" "Well, you're shiny." And you can lead him away. So he's going to be a lure. And he's, Flash says to him, "Well, you are pretty shiny." Because you're supposed to be on my side. We already got one wannabe superhuman trying to boss us around. He's got an arrow pointing at Batman. And so Green Arrow is saying, "I can do anything with this ring. So really, what can you do that we can't?" And then
it was even more than that. He listed like every member.
Yeah.
Flash goes the fastest, Superman, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, okay, here's the whole quote then. Superman might not say a lot, but he can fly and juggle trucks. The Flash is the fastest man alive. Wonder Woman can slice through an army, and me, I can do anything with this ring. So really, what can you do that we can't? And all these parademons are flying across the water. Aquaman's communicating, and the next thing you know, a whole giant school of great whites chomp them in half. Chomp all the parademons in half, and one makes it through, and he stabs him through the head and throws him at Green Lantern's feet, and he says, "Never mind." So that was great. What can you do that we can't? And just that great scene of all the great whites coming out of the water.
That's
just
excellent.
Cutting the parademon army literally.
That was my badass moment from the last show. Yeah.
And then right after that, Flash goes, Did you tell them to do that?" And he just goes, "I told them what to eat."
Yeah, I told them what to eat. That's
Nice.
That's great. Another badass moment comes from Johns again. There's a bank robbery, in the just really beautiful art by Reyes, and
Gorgeous.
this guy's in an armored car. They've taken an armored car. They're going to run him over. He stabs the armored car in the front with the trident, flips the truck up on its back, and some of the guys scramble out and they shoot him with automatic weapons, and they bounce off his chest, and one creases his face, and even though it hit him, it just gives him a little scratch that he bleeds from, and then he's pissed off, and then he takes care of him. But I just love the look on his face, like, yeah, that all you got. In the Peter David run in JLA 16, Aquaman is looking like this,
Right.
and it's quite a departure from how Aquaman has looked. So the JLA and Atlantis has recently been risen to the surface, and it's got this big glittering dome, but air can be let into it, where surface dwellers can come and interact with the Atlanteans. So the Justice League is going to go and figure out. They're going to go gauge what Aquaman is up to, what this new look is all about, and they come in wanting to investigate things. And this is when Guy Gardner was Warrior, and they had Obsidian on the team, and they had Wonder Woman was one of the team leaders with Martian Manhunter, and they come in a way not in friendship but to investigate him. Well, it pisses him off. What'd you say?
Just being nosy.
Yeah, just being nosy, and they piss him off, and he finally lets them know, you know what? I'm king of this joint. Y'all need to go. And they're like, well, we're the Justice, Guy Gardner, we're the Justice League. Can't kick us out. And so he does, and he's fighting them. And then what he does is he starts to fill the dome with water. So the dome is getting filled up. He goes, hey, there you can go. Which way do you want it? So they have to vacate because he's going to freaking drown them,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he just, in his badass self, he fills the dome with water. So a cool moment in the Peter David run, Aquaman number 28. There's a character, Demon Gate, who has killed one of the dolphins that Dan alluded to. There's an origin where he was raised by dolphins, and Porm is one of the dolphins that raised him. And this Demon Gate guy, Keanan, I believe his name is, just slaughters Porm. And when he catches
dolphin's name?
Porm,
Porm,
Porm.
The dolphin's name was Porm.
Was Porm that he killed?
It wasn't.
No, that wasn't it. And it wasn't porn either, which I know is high on your list. So
you seem pretty good at that, Chris. Like, if you've been practicing.
I have been. My dolphin call, absolutely. I'm gonna get one.
Chris is an expert dolphin flogger. So
keep him away from SeaWorld.
You'd see more than you'd want to see. So he has taken him to a deserted island, Demon Gate, and he says, let the punishment fit the crime. This is my decision, mine and mine alone. A line must be drawn and vengeance must be taken. Any last words? And he's got an audience of other orcas and whales, and people that are familiar with him were familiar with the dolphin that was slaughtered. And one of them says, they call him Swimmer. Swimmer, this is not what Porm wants. Porm was love. She was all that was best in dolphins. Don't let her legacy be etched in blood. And Aquaman asked them, do you all feel this way? And the other aquatic life, and he says, very well, your sentence is commuted. And the Demon Gate, now he's feeling himself. He goes, I knew you were too weak to see it through. The hell with you, take me home. And Aquaman says, oh, you are home. Once I'm gone, without your weapons, you'll notice there's no food on this small island. You might find sustenance if it's delivered to you by local sea creatures, seaweed, dead fish, and such. They'll keep you alive to display their infinite mercy, while you will be prisoner forever, on display for your infinite capacity for cruelty. Left the dude on a deserted desert island, not on a shipping route, and just left his ass there.
Like, take that.
Yeah. If you find substance, great. If you don't, that's great too.
Oh well.
So,
oh well.
So I think that is really badass. I mean, and he's got enough compassion. He listens to, the other sea life that knew this dolphin, and they said this is, this dolphin that had love for Aquaman, that he wouldn't, you're diminishing her memory by doing that. And so he takes their advice, but there's not a lot of compassion there. When he says, take me home, you are home. This is your home. This is where you will spend your days. And as far as I know, that character has never been seen again.
Yeah.
Which I think is really great.
You got ate by a gator.
I got that picture loaded.
Oh, let's show the picture.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
dude!
Look at the look on that polar bear's face.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Listen, I'm sure that was done without the bear's consent,
Yeah,
when the bear,
no consent.
That bear's not happy.
look, these dudes are poaching the seals. You see some baby seals there to the left. So he's throwing the polar bear. When he lands, that is not going to be a happy bear.
No.
That is not a happy bear. I think that is really great, isn't it?
Yes, that
That
is.
is awesome.
That is fantastic. Yeah.
Aquaman's not afraid to use wildlife as a weapon.
No, he's not. You know,
Not at all.
he can't command the polar bear, but he can toss the polar bear.
And those polar bears are huge. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
They're
So
not
it's
light.
like a
Any
bomb.
you know.
So a couple of the. So I do have a bunch of honorable mentions. Dan, do you want to mention your other three before I get into those?
Sure. I was just got two more that I'll mention them real quick, and if you got them, I'll let you elaborate on them. Convergence, Aquaman #2. He rips out Deathstroke's throat.
Ooh.
So that one was pretty rough. And
Didn't he do a number on Deathstroke in Flashpoint too? In the Flashpoint series, Deathstroke was a pirate, and he boarded his ship and just. I think he ran him through and killed him.
I mean, you think this Aquaman is not one to be trifled with? The one from Flashpoint was really not one you wanted to mess with.
No, he was a bad MF. Wasn't he?
Yeah, that's a good fastball.
It's a fastball special.
That's a fast, yeah.
Then the other one I was going to say is from Justice League 6. This is from the New 52 run when they had that version of League getting together.
Oh yeah,
he stabbed Darkseid in the heart with his trident.
Nice.
And that was one. I think the first time we did this, Sal, wasn't that one that like all of us had?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
That is a badass moment.
Yep.
in the JLA run where they brought back the Magnificent Seven that Morrison had them. One of the villains, one of the White Martians, was a speedster, and Aquaman shut his brain down because he had a amphibian or aquatic heritage, and he just shut his brain down.
Was he able to like control Superman for a short bit?
I think they were maybe trying to say that the Kryptonians had evolved from sea life, so they pushed the boundaries for that sometimes.
Yeah.
At times he has limited telepathy or telepath, not to the level John has, but sometimes he can use his telepathic abilities that way, and sometimes they use John to amplify it, which is interesting.
Right.
That they've had some really cool moments. So I also had when he dropped the whale on Namor, which was kind of great. He just dropped the whale on him, threw the polar bear. In Justice League 122, Aquaman is there's an incident where the League thinks he's dead, but he's not dead. He's laying low because a villain has used, I believe he used Hawkman's Absorbicon, and he's learned the identities of the Justice League, and he's attacking them through their secret identities. And he had to take Aquaman out first because he has no identity he could attack him with. But Aquaman intervened in all, he did adopt the Arthur Curry guys, which he never used. So that's why the villain didn't know about it. And he saved all the Leaguers in that issue. And the cover of the book is really cool, where it's a Mike Grill cover, and they're around a gravestone with carved Aquaman's head in, and they go, "Here lies Aquaman, King of the Seven Seas," but anyway, Aquaman saves them all through because he knew their identities, was able to help them. But it was a really cool issue of Justice League. In the Peter David run of Swamp Thing, Aquaman, he runs into Swamp Thing, and he and Swamp Thing are at odds on how to best protect sea life and the plants in the sea. And Swamp Thing is really getting under his skin, and he manifests himself as seagrass, and Aquaman is tired of hearing from him, so he summons manatees to eat him. So he summons a herd of manatees to eat the seagrass. And of course, Swamp Thing says, this isn't great. I could turn myself into, a weapon and kill them all. But he doesn't do that because he doesn't want to hurt the manatees. But I just thought it was pretty good that he called in a fleet of lawnmowers. So
nice.
So just I'm just really happy that there's so many. His water bending. I would rather that go back to Murrah, and I'm hoping that that's what happens.
Yeah, I think that'll be probably on it when
they reconfigure. Oh, and Chris was talking about how he fought through having his hand taken off. In Brightest Day, he had his hand taken off again, and by Manta sliced his hand off, and then he had Jackson Hyde, who has the water powers, but he's got an electrical current that shoots through him. He had Jackson Hyde cauterize the stump, the wound, and just the pain of him doing that. And then once it was cauterized, then he's kicking ass again and fighting through it with one hand again. So, and then
a badass.
Yeah, and
he's a warrior king.
Let's go to the Justice League animated series when he loses his hand.
Yeah,
he's his child and he are fastened to this rock that is sliding into an undersea volcano, and they're going to die. And so he takes off his belt buckle that has got, I guess a razor sharp element to it, and he lifts it up, and you don't see anything. But then it cuts away to a scene where he walks into the throne room holding the baby, and the blanket that he had is all red now. And they couldn't really, because it was animated, they wanted to show the blood, but the red was to show that he had bled. And the John Stewart Green Lantern, which was a Green Lantern in that show, was really badass. He was like, damn. That's hardcore. But I mean, that was awesome. He cut his hand off to save his child.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a lot of great badass moments by this character. And for him being my favorite character, and I guess the first book I ever bought was Justice League 111, was that 100-pager. I know it's part of the showcase. You see the last book shown. And in that book, that was my first book. What maybe made me love Aquaman was there was a scene where he and maybe it was Green Lantern. They were fighting. Yeah, there you go. I love it. He was fighting Poison Ivy, and Poison Ivy had these great big vines that were strong enough to crush buildings.
Poison Ivy had great big
vines.
Tracts of land.
Yes, tracts of land. And these vines were crushing buildings. And she said it'll only take seconds to crush you. And he said, yeah, but this body is built to withstand the pressures of the sea. And he just flexed and broke these things. And it's just, I guess as a 9-year-old reading that, I thought that was really cool that he was that strong, that he busted those vines that are breaking buildings. And maybe that's what resonated and made him my favorite character from that very first book. So
nice. All right, then let's go ahead and jump to stuff that we don't like about him. Uncle Gary, you can go first on this one. What don't you like about him?
I don't like when they keep killing him. There was a Sword of Atlantis series that actually that Busick wrote, and I love Busick and what he did in the JLA Avengers. But they had a kid
that was not
taking
good.
the mantle of Aquaman, and Aquaman ended up in the book being like this barnacled up old sea wizard or something that had been cursed.
Yeah, they called him something in it, right? It's like something of the deep, or I can't remember.
Dweller. I don't know what.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I did not like that when they didn't have Arthur. And except from Finland. Pam, very good to put that together. So I thought that was, I just didn't like that, and I hate it where he's had some great deaths where they made some great sacrifices, but my favorite Marvel character is Wonder Man, and they kill him a lot too. So, but fortunately, he's energy; he can always reform. But when
DC just want to kill everyone you like.
I know, man. It's they're out to get me, man, and I keep buying your damn books. So I hate it when DC does not have Aquaman, among the living. So that's the only time I hate it is when he is not around.
Okay. All right. Dan, how about you?
Not so much the character himself, but people. We mentioned Super Friends. People's, this perception of he's just, kind of the water guy. Like what's the old joke? Like Superman go stop that train, and Wonder Woman catch the plane, the plane from falling down, and Flash go outrun this, Aquaman, you go talk to some fish, just the perception of him being this this lame character, and it wasn't just Peter David that took him and made him badass. Like I said, you go all the way back to the stuff, the earlier stuff than that, the Death of a Prince stuff. Some really good
Levitts and those guys, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, and the way Aparo drew him made him look pretty badass too.
Dude, it's Aparo.
Yeah. I'll agree with thing there too. The the kind of convoluted backstory where they've there was the Golden Age one, and then they in the Silver Age they made it a different character, and and
Water Hand.
Yeah, that they've I wasn't as mad about the Water Hand. But the
that is Nippy Slappy.
Making like the changes. Oh, that's a good McGinnis one.
Mm-hmm.
But making like tweaks and changes and stuff to the origin, which they've done with so many different characters.
Another McGinnis one.
That nice. That quit mucking with the origin. Leave it as it is. If you I guess if you want to add things to fill in holes here and there that don't change it, that's fine. But changing it and changing it back, it just gets annoying. And of the big, there's the big seven with DCs. There's the Trinity: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and then the rest of the big seven: Flash, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, and Green Lantern. And out of the big seven, he probably the only one that gets less respect from him than him is Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
All the other
ones,
an
awesome character.
All the other ones have long, ongoing series. Play have big parts that they play in. Big crossovers and events and stuff. Manhunter and Aquaman have had that too, but not to the extent of everyone else.
Yeah, very true. Very true. All right, Chris, how about you?
I have to absolutely agree with both of these gentlemen.
Jim Lee.
And I want to add, I hate it when teams or guys who are writing him into teams just have him in the background. He's just there for a few minutes. And which is funny because one of my must reads is absolutely just him in the background. But
one of Sal's must reads, he's not even in it.
Yeah, one of my stories is not even in it.
That's awesome.
But there's a reason for that.
I hate it. I hate it when they use him just as a background. Okay, Aquaman's here. Just fill in a slot.
I will say though, if you go on Facebook and stuff and you watch the Ace Vane videos where he takes like the old Super Friend videos and redubs them, and they're hilarious. They make Aquaman out to be a complete buffoon on there, but again, like with everyone else on there, it is absolutely hysterical.
What is it?
It's a guy named Ace Vane.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
Please do. That'll be awesome.
On the Batman Brave and the Bold show, they kind of made him a little bit of a buffoon, but it was pretty funny and pretty.
But everything on that show was kind of
but it was fun. It was fun, and he was still badass. He was still a tough guy. Yeah. Outrageous.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of the manipulating water powers that.
No, he's okay for.
I think it's almost okayed. Don't.
Yeah, it's okay for what they're doing with it now, but I don't want to see it stay long term.
Yeah, it needs to go back to Murrah.
Yeah, because it's they work good together.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
I agree.
And and as many of us know, a hero comic with just a single hero and no background characters to bounce off of is pretty boring. and
Mhm.
Mira is a great mirror for that character, and they play it well for one another.
She's a hot redhead. You can't go wrong there.
And she's a hot redhead.
Yeah.
True. Very true. All right. So for me, you guys pretty much
There's a
covered
whole
everything I
line
was
of them.
saying.
There's a thing. It's a whole line of McGinnis figures. There's like 20 of them. So they're really cool too.
Really?
Yeah, because McGinnis did the Superman, Batman.
It's a
first
JLA
arc when
line.
that started, and he did the the JLA classified.
JLA classified, I believe, is the line. And McGinnis did about 20 of them, and they are fantastic. And they're all big blocky figures except the Joker and the Mr. Mitzelpick, I think, are the only ones that aren't big blocky. The Hawkman is, geez, he's giant. It's amazing.
They really did a good job with the sculpts. They definitely look like his artwork came to life.
Wonder Woman looks like a linebacker.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump
That'll
to
be
the
anytime.
top covers then. Dan, I got your top covers ready. You ready to go?
You got your top covers.
Got
Yeah.
your top covers.
Yeah, love them. Look at those.
Wow.
And if you notice the spinner rack behind me, it is all three of these covers there. So the first Aquaman episode we did, my cover picks were Aquaman 0, Brightest Day issue 2, and then the other Aquaman 0 from New 52. So, maybe some of you guys love those too. So these ones I picked Justice League of America 242. I'm pretty sure I actually picked this cover for Mara when we did that episode as well.
Yeah, I think we did too. I love Elongated Man's jaw dropping.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I just, I love the happy Aquaman,
Mm-hmm.
the happy Mara, they're together, they're jumping out of the water. It's just so full of joy, just, a really great cover. And
it has that late 80s feel to it, man. It's
and you got the classic Justice League floating heads, and then you got Mazo there just kind of having that look like, yeah, I'm gonna get you.
Mm-hmm. That's Chuck Patton.
Yeah.
You and your little fish too.
Mm-hmm.
The middle one is from Aquaman 18 from the New 52 run. That's such a awesome cover where he's sitting there and you see his deep in contemplation and his face, the way it's covered in shadow. He's sitting on that just awesome, underwater looking throne. And, the octopus, coming up behind him. He's holding the trident. Like this is the the representation of a lonely king. This is the representation of me of heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Absolutely.
Right.
That is a perfect
King of Sorrow.
visual imagery of that very thing. Yep. I
Very
agree.
true.
I have a print of this autographed by Paul Pelletier, if I'm saying his name right, that I got at Baltimore Comic Con years ago that I have framed hanging on the wall right off to the side here. And then the one on the end I wanted to put, I really love I'm really digging the current series, really like Tim's doing the art on there and wanted to put a current cover on there. So picked issue 1 of the current series.
We met him in Baltimore too.
What'd you say?
We met him in Baltimore.
Yes. And I almost got him to sign this, but I ended up getting him to sign that issue of Batman Incorporated instead. So if he's there again this year, I'll take this one with me. But Aquaman looks pissed off. I actually kind of dig the short hair with the beard. I never thought that I would, but the way he draws it looks good.
Pretty cool.
Even though I'm not a huge fan of him having the aquakinesis powers, him making the big broadsword with it looks badass. And I like the A in the background where the shark is bursting up and eating it. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, breaking that wall there. That's sweet.
Yeah, the middle cover does definitely have some Namor vibes to it. King Conan too, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I love the shadowing on it.
Yes.
The depth to it.
Yeah, and
beautiful.
the colors on it too, where the colors are, they're not bright like on the other two. They're very dark. So,
Yeah.
what you would expect to see if it's deep underwater.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
All right. Good ones. Good ones, Dan.
Gorgeous.
All right, Chris, got yours here.
Thank you.
There you go.
I mean, look at that.
That's nice.
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
They are.
Take a look at the one in the middle is a Mauro Cassioli variant cover
Mm-hmm.
for Blackest Night. I mean, look at that. That's just wicked.
That's the zombie. Yeah, I had the zombie Aquaman figure. Forgot to grab it. Yep, that's cool.
That's just awesome. That's a metal cover, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. I love the darkness in it, and of course it's a zombie, so you can't go wrong there. That Aquaman number 18 on the left there is a Nick Cardy,
Yes, it is.
and I just love how bright and beautiful that is. It's just gorgeous.
Some Nick Cardy goodness.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incredible. Look how vibrant that is.
Even the Adams on there with a little bitty helmet.
It's really cool. It's just a really cool cover.
Superman only one.
Just harkens back to yesteryear, does it not?
Yes, it does, and it is. It's bright and it's beautiful.
It's just amazing.
Yep.
Yep. And then the one on the right says Sheldon Madoff cover. I mean, that's peak Aquaman right there. Aquaman with Aqualad fighting some beastie. I believe that my friend Gary has this one.
I have all those covers there. Yep.
Yeah.
Got a complete run of Aquaman. I have a complete run of Showcase. Now the one on the right, is that Sheldon? I thought that might be Ramona Fraden on that.
Well, I looked it up. It was
Okay.
off, but
Okay. Well, it certainly looks like Ramona, and we got to give her some love because she drew a lot of those early Aquaman.
maybe it was misattributed.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, it probably is a mold off. So, but it's just a great cover. I love the monsters.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so, you're melding that, the craziness of an Atlantean king with what looked to be some hellacious otherworld aliens or demons. It looks really cool.
And that was the first one of his solo showcase issues. 30 through 33 he had, and then after that he graduated and got his own series.
Awesome.
So that was the first one of them.
And that is it.
All right. Very cool.
Beautiful.
Gary, you want to go last on this one?
Sure.
All right. So I will go next. There's my top covers. All right. Check these out.
Wes?
Wow.
Hey, Wes. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah. Cardi has this.
Cardi's amazing, man.
He's done a lot more than just Aquaman stuff.
Oh, Cardi, Teen Titans, Aquaman, Batlash, horror books.
So good.
Yep.
Cardi, romance books. Oh, Cardi did it all.
He did everything, yeah.
All right. So
the showcase was at 30, right? That was his first cover appearance, wasn't it?
No, his first cover appearance was Brave and the Bold 28.
Okay.
But that was, his first solo cover appearance.
all right. So that first cover there on the far left is Aquaman 46. This is the B cover. This is from that storyline, the Old Gods Return, Volume 8. Cover artist here is Esteban Maroto. I love this cover because it's you got the monsters in the background. He's there swimming up with the trident, and I don't know. You get the King vibe from him on this one for me because he's just looks like he's just overseeing or
Very
rolling over
Lovecraftian background there. That's really cool.
Yes, it is very cool. All right, so that next one in the middle is Aquaman 24. That's from Volume 5. I think Eagleland did the penciling on this one, and Schrum did the inking on this one. This is I love this cover because it's not only do you got the nice flow of the hair, That's always nice. But you see the blade and his arm, it's like spinning, and he's got the guy's head pulled back, and he's about to ram it through his neck. That's just that's almost like a badass moment in itself.
That guy right there is the one he's stranded on the island. That's
Right.
Demon's Gate. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. You know, one more second, that guy was having a very bad day. You know.
That is
the
awesome.
last one I got there. This one is Aquaman number 17 from Volume 6. This is the one I was telling you with the mana fight where they're fighting all over the place, and there he is holding up the building collapsing to save the people. This was penciled by Alan Davis. The inker was Mark Farmer, and the colorist was Nathan Uring. I think it was Uring. But yeah, I mean the perspective from this one too is very cool because you're looking up at it. You almost feel the weight of the building falling on you right there as debris is also falling on you as well.
That's the Sub Diego.
Davis is always so good.
Yeah.
That's from the Sub Diego
story,
The Sub Diego
was it?
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but badass cover right there. Gotta love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Gary, you are up next.
All right. Well, the one on the right is that Nick Carty.
Okay.
Goodness.
There you go.
I'm sorry, Gary.
No, that's okay. But that's
How dare you?
I know. That's Nick Carty goodness. The one in the middle is our buddy Jim Calafiore. I love the Feeding Frenzy one. And it was really tough between that one or the one where he's sitting on the throne with all the fish going around that was on the cover of the omnibus. I love that cover too. But I just love that with the sharks and the blood in the water. Just so good. And then the one on the left, Aquaman 59, that is Jim Aparo greatness.
Yeah.
That is the Aquaman we grew up with.
Absolutely. Look at that. And you know, the way Aparo drew him,
yeah,
he's a badass.
Yeah.
Look at that. So cool. So
so awesome.
Yeah. So there we go.
Good stuff. All right, let's go. Oh, Dan's hiding behind the spinner rack.
He's doing something nasty in the corner over there. Are you?
No, I was looking in the.
Are you using the letterbox?
The Aquaman long box there.
Okay, so before we jump into essential readings with the character, let's give you a quick preview of what we're doing with Comic Character of the Week coming up. So we're changing it around a little bit. We're going to do Comic Character of the Week twice a month now, but in the off breaks, we're going to do one Creator of the Week. We're going to take one creator and give you all the good stuff, just like Comic Character. We're going to give you all the good, badass stuff, badass covers, badass stories that he's done or they have done, and give you to once a week or once a month. We'll bring you a creator that is just simply badass. The other week that we're not doing Comic Character of the Week, we're going to do top 10 lists. One of Dan's favorite.
Who doesn't love a good top 10 list?
Love a top 10 list.
Gotta have a top 10
Like
list.
top 10.
And here's the fun thing, folks. You guys got to join in. You'll know at least a week in advance what our top 10 subject's going to be. Get into the chat that night and start putting in your top 10, whatever it is, top 10 list for whatever we're covering that night. So,
yes. So
stay tuned.
Follow us. Make sure to follow us on Instagram or Facebook because every Monday I'm going to be posting. I'm going to go back to posting a schedule for what we have that week. So it'll be, the podcast and who's on with Sonny. It'll be who the character or the creator of the top 10 list is, the Saturday show. If there's any extra stuff, like Sal just did his Mark Spears unboxing videos, and then it's going to have what time all of them go up to. So, again,
and of course, Comics Unleashed.
Yeah, Instagram or Facebook. Every Monday, I'm gonna be posting that. It'll be like looking at the TV guide back in the day.
I can't wait for the top 10 things Chris eats that are the most lethal.
Yeah.
Is that coming in a comic book format? Oh my God!
Oh, not again!
Oh,
that's what you get,
Gary.
That's what you get.
That's what I get. That ain't right.
Ain't right.
That ain't right.
I did that.
Chris did that.
Don't
Chris
worry,
is doing
Gary.
that.
And we're going to be having, we're going to be having guests on here
Right.
and there. Old faces, new faces,
Bold faces
cold
type of thing.
faces.
Yes, definitely. So, yep, we're switching the format just a little bit. That way, it helps us a little bit more because with the comic character of the week, it kind of gives us a little bit more time to do some more research on the characters that we may not know as well, but want to. So that way, we can provide you guys the best stories out there for these characters.
It does take quite a bit of time to prep individually for these lists.
And if it's a character that they're not intimate with, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, and even if it's a character I know, like Aquaman, as much as I love these stories, I read them when they came out, but it's not like I've, constantly going back and rereading them. So when you're having to pick, limit it to 3, it's like, all right, I've got to go back and at least kind of speed read through them to pick.
Refresh.
Like, I'll give this one the nod over top of this one. So, it takes time to sit there, not just to read all the stuff for the readings, but also to pick out the really great, solo moments, like the badass moments for that too.
Yeah.
It's just,
and we've read so much comic stuff that a lot of the finer details get muted over time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You gotta go
together.
Stuff.
Absolutely. So
yeah,
yes,
like you'll remember, oh yeah, I remember this story and it was about this and I liked it, and I remember this story is about this and I liked it, but then when it comes down to, to really picking between them, it's like, shit, I got to go back and reread them because I remember them. I know I liked them and that, but even rereading them, like, oh, I forgot that. Like, oh yeah, that was cool. I forgot about that.
Yeah, definitely.
And it'll be easy to keep it straight because we will do comic character of the week every other week. So there'll be some months where we'll have 3,
Right.
if it's a 5-week. But yeah, every other week we will do character of the week. So that's just a good way to remember. And next week, we do our comic creator, and it's we're doing the King, right?
King himself, Jack Kirby.
mean, who better to start with?
Yep.
Right.
And then the next week we'll have a character of the week, and then the week after that will be our inaugural top 10 list. Sal won't be on it, but we will have our we already know our topic. So
Well, just go ahead and tell everyone now we're going to be doing top 10 DC characters, and these are not who we think like the most popular. These are our individual
Favorites.
top 10 favorite characters. Because if we picked, top 10 most popular characters or most well known or something, we're all going to have roughly the same list in roughly the same order. Superman's going to be 1, Batman's going to be 2. So it's our top 10 favorite DC characters, and we will be joined by our old buddy, the Archduke himself, Kevin, who will be
Nice.
on here.
Nice.
And I guarantee you, number 1 is going to be Animal Man for him. Number 2 is going to be Constantine. Mark it down.
Yeah.
Calling it now.
And I
That's
believe
true.
we have Chris for that episode too, right?
I believe so. And I'll still submit my list so that you guys can show it off.
Yep.
And we'll mock it.
Yeah, you will.
And you know what?
Mercilessly.
The top 10 list, I think, will be a fast-paced show. We might even be able to get Mighty Mike Harbor to make an appearance on that.
Oh, there you go. All right.
His list is going to be Venom,
For DC.
Venom,
No,
Yes.
it's gonna be,
for DC.
Venom, Carnage,
Venom was in the Marvel DC crossover, so he counts.
Venom,
counts.
Carnage,
It counts,
Anti-Venom.
It's canon.
Anyways, we got
The symbiotes are a multi-universal creature.
The Null, Tom Hardy.
Okay. Moving on.
We got a lot of fun stuff coming up, and
We do. We do.
and we're excited to do it, and we're excited that, especially for the top 10, we're hoping that everybody in the chat will be posting
Bring
their
theirs.
top 10 as well.
I can't wait for Sal's top 10 cuts of meat.
There you go. That's an episode. Let me tell you right now. That's an episode.
You know how many little shorts he sent me about Italians doing stereotypical Italian? Like there was a couple days there where like every day I'm just getting a new video of Italians going like, oh, look at this gabagool, and it's a bunch of gabagool behind him. And that's not an exaggeration. Like that's exactly what these videos are that he was
They were
sending.
funny. They were funny.
I'm like, you're just feeding into the stereotype at this point.
I know. We won't go into that. But okay. So now let's jump to our essential reading stuff that we want to share with you guys. Chris, or no, actually, Gary, you should go first because this is your character.
Man, and you talk about hard choices, but all right.
That's true. Where are you, Gary? There you go.
That's what she
All
said.
right. So that big giant tome that I held up earlier, read the whole damn thing. It's Aquaman. It's the Aquaman Omnibus by Peter David. And if you say a whole run, you have to buy a whole bunch of issues. Well, here you don't. You buy this one giant tome. You have all this Peter David goodness. You've got Aquaman 0 through 49. You've got Aquaman Time and Tide miniseries 1 through 4. You have Aquaman 1 Million, Aquaman Annual 1 through 4, Tempest 1 through 4, and then a story from Showcase 96 #1. And 30 of these stories have never been collected before. So it is an investment. It is a big old volume, but it is great reading. It is great characters. A lot of the stories we've talked about today have come from this volume. So
it is the only place that you're ever going to get the Tempest miniseries collected.
Yeah, and the Tempest miniseries is pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, it was real good.
Jorge Jimenez doing the art on it too. Oh my goodness, it's great.
When he had that red and black costume.
Yes, absolutely. Also, Aquaman Volume 7, which is the new 52 stuff, 0 through 52. The Jeff Johns stuff in the beginning is so great. The Trench is so good. But I added the whole thing because even after Johns left, that was a stellar series. And there's this is also done in hardback volumes. So you could also get those. There's a volume where it's a great one with Gorilla Grodd, where he and Gorilla Grodd were going at it, and through these Atlantean gates that would teleport you, and one of the gates opened up in Gorilla City, and just you wouldn't think about Aquaman and Gorilla Grodd, having a little bit of a battle, but great book. So
yeah, Jeff Parker had that run. I think it only lasted around 10 or 12 issues, but man, that was a really good 10 or 12 issues.
Right, and Peltier was doing the art, and I've got them both. I've got that volume with Grodd. I have Parker, Peltier, and the inker on it too. I've got 3 signatures on that book, which was really great. And then the Aquaman Death of a Prince. That's the tragic book where Arthur Jr. was killed, and the book that really, the stories that really gave Aquaman a heft and a gravitas to the character when he lost his son. And that issue, and there were a lot of different writers on that issue, or on the issues in there, but the connecting thread is most of the art is Jim Aparo. So you see that great Jim Aparo art on it all, on most of it. So I would recommend picking up the initial few stories in there are the backup stories that were in Adventure before Aquaman took over as the main featured character, and those are Mike Grill. That's Mike Grill art, and that's Mike Grill's first work at DC Comics. His first professional work was the Aquaman backup in Adventure Comics. So you get to see Grill when he first comes in.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome, please.
Yes.
So,
thank you.
Those are my 3. Get them. They've all been collected if you don't want to get the single issues, but great reads all.
Very cool.
I love that Gary's recommended reading is like 150 issues.
Yeah, I know. That's what we call pulling an Archduke.
And you know what? That is out of character for me to do the whole thing, but since it's my favorite character, I guess I was
you're allowed.
Feeling it, yeah.
You're allowed. It's all good.
Oh, I almost put the single issue, the Brave and the Bold issue that Straczynski did, and that would have been just one single issue, and it was fantastic. Aquaman and the Demon.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, you're next. Here you go.
Well, mine almost lines up, of course, with what Gary chose. Aquaman, Death of a Prince. It introduces so much Aquaman lore that it's not funny. I believe Aqualad was introduced during this time period, wasn't he?
No, Aqualad was introduced in actually Adventure Comics 260.
Okay, so it was before this.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. But that's when it came to a head where he and Aqualad kind of split up after that.
yeah, so much other stuff that's built into the Aquaman mythos was added during this, and Paul Levitz was in, and Paul Kupperberg are two of my favorite writers, both of which have worked on, of course, JSA projects. Just phenomenal stuff there. Read it; it's great. Jeff Johns, Aquaman, 0 to 25, 23.1, 23.2, and the Justice League crossover there. Excellent read. This is what Gary was just talking about. Only he included all the other stuff following John's leaving the book. Just a fantastic run, full of political intrigue. Makes Aquaman a really, really powerful character again. I think brings him. It's John's, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's John's, and John's when he touches a character, he just makes him shine. He's amazing. He's a King Midas of characters.
He did. Somebody flashed on about the Atlantis Chronicles. That was a great Peter David series.
Oh yes. Well, Peter David is he's phenomenal too.
Yeah.
All-Star Squadron, 31, 59, and 60. Now I included these because
it's All-Star Squadron.
It's All-Star Squadron, and everyone knows the JSA and the All-Star Squadron is all that. That's my favorite stuff there. That's my wheelhouse. These are 3 of the only modern appearances of the Golden Age Aquaman. Number 31, he just has a 1-panel cameo. 59 through 60, he's in the opening page. The first page is Aquaman and half of the second splash. When it opens up on the splash page, it's a 2-page spread. He's on there, but you don't see him again, I think, except for one other panel in these stories. But they're fantastic stories because these 3 particular issues contain almost all the Golden Age characters from that time, and they're fantastic. They're a great read. So if you can, check them out. Read the entire All-Star Squadron series. It's great.
Right,
that.
Very cool. All right, Dan, you are next. Boom.
All right. So the first time we did it, just to let everyone know, my picks were American Title, which was Aquaman Volume 6, 15 through 20, which also led into Sub Diego, which just fantastic storyline. I also had The Trench, Aquaman 1 through 4, Volume 7,
Good.
And Aquaman Time and Tide. So I wanted to pick, as I said, 3 new stories for this. I was going to pick Death of a Prince, but I knew 100%. I knew there was 100% certainty that Gary was going to pick that, and then Sal showed me what Chris had picked, and he had it. So I'm like, all right, that's on there. And I was also going to pick Throne of Atlantis, but again, I knew Chris had it, so I went with these 3. So the Triton Saga, it is Aquaman Volume 5. That's the Peter David run. It's issue 34 and then 42 to 46, and that was the last storyline Peter David did in the Aquaman series there. And we talked about it with him going down to hell to get Poseidon, and Triton in 34, Aquaman just beat the brakes off of Triton, and so he could gain this power from Poseidon. Then Triton feels slighted, and then come back in 42, and he kills Poseidon, sends him down to Hades, and starts causing all kinds of problems. And Aquaman has to go save him, get the power, fight him. Is really good. It's a great way to end a fantastic run. Maelstrom kind of goes in, is encompassed in what Gary had picked too. He talked about Aquaman going through the gate and fighting Gorilla Grodd and Gorilla City. This is Aquaman Volume 7, issues 35 to 40. It's as I said when he was talking about the Jeff Parker run, Paul Pelletier art. It's awesome. There's these earthquakes or ocean quakes, I guess you call them, that are kind of terrorizing Atlantis. And it's talked about in the storyline how whenever anyone in Atlantis dies, their spirit kind of becomes part of the nation. And there's problems because they figure out it's because Atlantis is not recognizing Aquaman as the ruler, even though he's the king. And then they discover the reason why is because, again, when people die and their spirits become part of Atlantis, his mother had apparently never died, had faked her death. So she wasn't part of it. And that's why the city is kind of, the nation is kind of rebelling against him. So he goes on this quest to find her, and it's got him traveling all over the place, to Gorilla City and other places. Just cool story. And then when he finds her, it doesn't quite go exactly as he had hoped it would. And then the last one I have is The Drowning. So it's officially Aquaman Rebirth. The Rebirth book. It's the Rebirth issue, and then issues 1 through 6, which this was volume 8. I'll also personally include the last 4 issues of the previous one, volume 7, 49 to 52, because that kind of starts setting up what happens in this. And it's the same writer, Abnett, that does it. And at the end of volume 7, it sets up the storyline going into it. This is where he comes and decides Atlantis has to become part of the world stage, and he builds a big embassy so that so that Atlantis can become a nation incorporated in the world instead of being this isolationist underwater city. Black Manta attacks and does this terrorist attack on it, and then it makes the U.S. government shut down the embassy, and then there's an attack on a U.S. ship that is Atlantis is framed for, and they arrest Aquaman, and that's where we got the badass moment I talked about, where he just decked Superman and told him, "I am a king." But it's really cool because it gets into all the political stuff that goes on with this guy being the head of a nation. And it's also an essential story for Black Manta too, because after Black Manta, this confrontation that he has with Aquaman, it's really interesting the way that ends at the beginning of the storyline, and then what happens with Manta after it that set him up, for what he was going to be doing after that. So definitely a must read for Aquaman and for Black Manta as well.
Yeah, cool.
Good, great books.
All right, very good. All right, so time for my readings. All right, so I went out on a limb here, and I went with this first one, the Atlantis Chronicles. Does it have Aquaman in it? No, no. But what this book or what this series does, it's okay, Chris.
Well, he's in it at the very end.
He is at the very end. He is at the very end. But what this
I don't
does,
feel so bad now.
So it's a mythological deep dive of Atlantis' ancient history. So it's the foundation lore for all things of Aquaman and the ocean mythos, which is awesome because it reminds me of like learning a lot about the Greek history and a lot about the Greek gods and their connections and their stories and stuff like that. So that's what this reminds me of. So it builds a good history of Atlantis from its sinking to its generations of political and magical conflict. It's a good read. He does show up at the end, but it's a good read if you want back history on Atlantis itself. My next one is Aquaman Volume 8, 45 through 47. Actually, it should have been 46. I think I did a typo on this one. But this is the Old Gods little story. It's like 2 issues, possibly 3. I think it starts in 45. Maybe that's why I wrote it down. But it reframes Atlantis as a civilization built on stolen divine power, long before Atlanteans ruled the seas or anything like that. And they're back to reclaim what they believe was, never the Atlanteans to keep. So Aquaman here is just fighting for the throne. He's fighting for the right of mortals to exist without the gods ruling them. It's a good short story. I loved it. It's really good. It was written by Kelly Sue DeConnick. So definitely good. Definitely one to check out. And for shits and giggles, I went back and I went to a Silver Age one, Aquaman number 16, 1966. No big key. You know what it is? It's just an issue where he faces strange and fantastic creatures, that are threatening both the surface world and Atlantis. And it felt like it just combines Aquaman using his strength, his speed, his ability to communicate with sea life, and a lot of good stuff with this. And the creatures range from like giant octopi, to like alien-inspired fish, and you got to think of the time frame this came out, 1966, where I think we as a human race knew nothing of like the deep seas. So really anything was fair game, much like this space race with Green Lantern was at the time. You had pretty much an open canvas to create anything you wanted to, and it would feel right. So it's like I said, it's a 1-issue shot. It's visually striking. It was written by Robert Bernstein, and the artist was Ramona Fradon, and it was good. It was good. And you should check it out.
That's cool.
Very good.
Am I correct in assuming that all 4 of us are fans of mythology?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We all read that very young, and it probably led to our love for comic books.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I was introduced to that stuff at a very young age.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so for our next and last segment of the night is writer and artist Uncle Gary. Who do you got?
All right. Well, I want to give a tremendous amount of love to quite a few people here, but with the writer, I love everything Jeff Johns did with this character, and where he took it, the love that he had for him, where he, Dan has talked about this before, where he even delves into the jokes about, don't you need any water, or you eat seafood, you eat fish, don't you talk to him, things like that. But
Nice movies.
What Johns brought to this character was so good. That first opening trench storyline that he did was so good, and then the other series, Aquaman and the Others, that was so good.
Oh, that was such a cool series.
Yeah, it was, and I'm glad I got the trades. I think it went 15 issues. That was so good too. But I think I have to give it to Peter David, who I think really made this character very, very interesting. He takes his hand, he gives him a barbarian feel. He brings, he really enhances existing characters. Has them with Dolphin for a while, and some of the old standbys like Volko you see quite frequently, and then introduces a son, Koryak, I believe, that we had never known before, and just added a whole lot to the Aquaman mythos. Russ Heath is great in everything he did. So I just think it's and Peter David just passing away. Let's remember him for what he did, and his run on Aquaman was just absolutely phenomenal. But like I said, I do love everything Jeff Johns did with the character, but I think just the fact that Peter David, really put a mark on this character when he was, he was kind of aimless for a while, that he really gave him great characterization and gave him that attitude and a little bit of nastiness, and that the character needed to win some people over. make people think that he wasn't just the Super Friends, buffoon. So Peter David has
Give
a
him
lot
some
to.
depth.
Yep, there you go.
Pardon the pun.
Yep, I get it. He gave it depth. He made it so he wasn't floundering. So there you go. So Peter David's the writer, and for artist, man, Ivan Reyes, so great. Love to the Ramona Fraden, who was one of the few women working in the field and did his backup stories for years and years and years. Jim Lee draws a pretty good Aquaman too.
Yep.
Our personal friend Jim Calafiore, love what he has done on him. Love Martin Englund's work on the character, but it's got to be Jim Aparo for me.
I knew you were going to pick.
Nice. That's how I was figuring you were going with that.
Yeah, got to be Jim Aparo. But these other guys,
yes,
I really love. So, but to the way Jim Aparo was the first one, and listen, Nick Cardy was phenomenal on his Aquaman too, but Jim Aparo was the first one that drew him like a badass.
Yeah.
So, but then again, almost every character Jim Aparo drew looked like a badass. So it's part of who he was. But Jim Aparo.
All right, very good. All right, Dan, you're next.
All right, so the first time we did this, I did pick Jeff Johns as my writer, and I picked Ivan Reyes as my artist. So to change it up, for writer, Peter David for I can't say it any better than he did. Just such a fantastic run, a long run. The run that really made people look at this character and be like, all right, this is not someone to be trifled with. And then for artist, because again, Reyes was great as I picked the first time, and because I knew that Gary was going to pick Aparo, I went with the same artist that I picked for our show last week for The Flash. Picked him again for Aquaman, Paul Pelletier. Fantastic on there through multiple writers. Looked great. He's, like I said, he's the one that did one of my cover picks, and I got the print of it autographed by him over there. And yeah, I just love his art style, and he's one of those artists that anytime I see him drawing a book, I'll go like, all right, well, I might not be super interested in that character, and he's drawing it, I'll pick it up.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. All right, Chris, who do you got?
Well, there are of course, like the obvious choices we've been throwing around. Johns is gold on everything he does, and Reyes is just look at his work. It's beautiful. It's transcendent. But I'd like to give some love to some other creators like you guys did, and I've got to go with Aparo. I mean, for art, he's one of my favorite artists of all time. I just love his work, and I've been, as you guys know, collecting these Brave and the Bolds, and I'm just digging on his artwork. He's just amazing at everything he does. As far as writers go, I'd like to give Paul Levitz a little love. He never gets
nice.
He never gets love, and that guy has had his hands in so many transformational projects for DC Comics characters that it's a shame that he's not mentioned more. So I'm just going to give him some love for the work he did on the Death of Prince run.
That's a great pick.
Yeah, very true.
Like it.
All right, so last time we did the show, I picked Jim Lee and Peter David, and it's really hard to go off and choose another ones. There have been so many good ones. I will give some shout outs to the Kelly Sue DeConnick, who did that Old Gods two issue story. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really well written. And also, I don't want to choose a cover artist, so I'm not going to do it. So I'll stick with my original picks from last episode, or last time we did the episode. Jim Lee and Peter David. Peter David's stories are just so amazing. They define the character so well to me that I just can't pick anybody over him for stories. So I'm gonna go with that. Jim Lee and Peter David.
Yeah.
You know.
Who was
I mean,
the
Peter
cover
David
artist?
did- I mean, he did so much with that character.
So the cover artists, the ones I had for my covers, it was Esteban Morato. He, his work was really good. Martin England, or Egland, I should
and
say.
he did a lot of the interiors. Too.
Yeah, he
did.
was the primary penciler for a long time at the start of David's run. Yeah, he really made Aquaman look mean.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
And then Califury took over for him. Now another great cover one is Joshua Middleton.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And McGuire.
And McGuire, yeah.
I mean, we could be here all night listing off more great artists too.
And John Timms, I like what he's doing on the book now too.
Yeah.
Great.
Very cool. Very cool. Guys, excellent choices, excellent reads, excellent badass moments. You guys have been great as usual. People in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. We always love interacting with you guys, so please, the more comments, the better. We can go ahead and wrap up this episode and put it to bed. Like I said, next week we are changing it up a little bit. We are doing Comic Creator of the Week. It will be the King himself, Jack Kirby. So please tune in and check that out. We may tweak that show as we go along, but figure it's going to follow the same type of format that Comic Character of the Week does.
We're going to tweak it, not twerk it, right?
We're going to tweak it, not twerk. Well, for Chris,
I don't know, man. Whatever will get us views. Whatever will get us subs.
Whatever gets us subs. If we have to twerk it, we're going to do it.
Whatever you need.
Okay?
If they want to see,
tell us what you want to see.
If they want to see Sal shake that ass and swing that baloney, well,
it's
a salami.
They want.
If they, I gotta give the folks what they want.
It's a salami.
Thanks, Mobius.
A salami. I love
the salami.
Wow.
That's a whole new shoot. That's a whole new show. Let me tell you.
Look at Pam giving Chris some love.
There you go. There you go.
Woo-hoo.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for watching us from Finland, man.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for
being Kojo.
In the chat. Always love interacting with everybody.
Absolutely, we do. That's great stuff. All right, folks. Don't forget Comics Unleashed, late Saturday night, 11 p.m., where we show off pools, back issues, and everything that we got this week. So, till next time, we'll take care. You have a 9.8 day, and we'll see